Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my top 5 worst Disney sequels. You you all reacted so positively to my top 5 best Disney sequels list back in October, so this is the sibling to that list. While there are some exceptional great Disney sequels, there are plenty that fail to recapture the magic of the original, as we all know. It's especially back in the 2000s. So, without further ado, if you want to know my top 5 worst Disney sequels, then just keep watching. I understand all of you guys would love to see Belle's Magical World in this list, as that is hailed by Disney fans as one of the worst, if not the very worst, Disney sequel. But I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't think it's that bad, in all honesty. I mean, sure, it's not one of the greats. It's not even that good. It's just it's just a well mediocre collection of episodes that should have been made into a TV show, but at least it's still had some heart and sweet messages to it, and I do have a little biased nostalgia for it. Watching it on VHS and every now and again as a kid. But anyway, on to my number 5 pick. At number 5, The Return of Jafar. Oh, of of the two Aladdin sequels, the King of Thieves totally wipes the floor with Return of Jafar. Return of Jafar took the lazy routine for a sequel of resurrecting the first movie's antagonist, making the entire climax of the original Aladdin, when Aladdin outwitted Jafar and transformed him into a genie, utterly meaningless. And Jafar is barely in the movie. The majority of this movie is Aladdin and Jasmine temporarily breaking up, and then Iago becoming a good guy, and the genie is back, voiced by Homer Simpson. And he fails epically to do a Robin Williams impression, despite doing a much better job than Will Smith did as the genie in the Aladdin remake. The the only redeeming quality to Return of Jafar is that Just Forget About love song. That's the only song in this movie I don't forget about, but the rest of it, you can totally forget about it. Disney tricked us. They got us hyped up, being the first Disney sequel, an epic showdown between Aladdin and Jafar for nothing. You can just chuck this one in the trash. At number 4, The Jungle Book 2. This movie sucks. I absolutely love Return to Neverland. That is certainly the superior of the 2000s cinematically released Disney sequels, but I'm not so forgiving to Jungle Book 2. This movie is, unlike Return to Neverland, is a disrespectful, nostalgic rehash of the original Jungle Book. It hammers in bare necessities into your head and replays it over and over again to the point of insanity. We get it. You're referencing the original Jungle Book. It's like the movie is shaking us to just go and watch the original. Jungle Book 2, you do realise you're supposed to be your own movie, right? And the animation is as thin as the plot. Lucky, the Vulture, voiced by Phil Collins, and Raja, they are both the Jar Jar Binks of the Jungle Book duology. And that song WIOT, oh god, that is the biggest spit in the face to I wanna be like you I have ever seen. Period. And sure, Shere Khan does get twice as much screen time, but the fact that he can just walk into the man village so easily defeats defeats the purpose of Mowgli going to the man village in the first movie in the first place. And the final battle in the temple is ridiculous. When how can a Shanti and Mowgli outleap Shere Khan onto that statue? There's no way two kids could outleap a tiger. I do have two praises for this movie though. I like Shanti enough. She was sweet, and Jim Cummings as Car and Tony J as Shere Khan. They sounded exactly like the original voice actors Sterling Holloway and George Sanders from the original. But other than that, the Jungle Book 2 should be called the Junk Book 2. At number 3, Bambi 2. Oh, I'm sorry, but I mean, at least Tarzan 2, as unnecessary a mid-call as it was, at least it had one or two tender bonding moments between Carla and Tarzan. But Bambi 2, I'm one of the few people in the minority that call the original Bambi the most overrated Disney classic of the golden age of Disney. But Bambi 2 is easily the worst of the two Bambi movies. It's a mid call that is it's literally filler. It's added zero character progression for Bambi, and even Patrick Stewart, the voice of Bambi's father, the Great Prince of the Forest, couldn't save it. So it's just it's a story, it's just like, Once Upon a Snowman that I recently reviewed. It feels like a deleted scene from the original Bambi that we didn't need to know of. Like, I hate the animation. I hate that they find a replacement for Bambi's mother, and I hate young Rono in this movie. I mean, the original Bambi was right to have a time jump because we didn't need to see all this. Bambi 2 has absolutely no reason to exist. At number 2, The Hunchback of Notre Dame II. I mean, did anybody even want a Hunchback of Notre Dame II? Anyone? Yeah, that's what I thought. No responses. I mean, the original Hunchback of Notre Dame is still Disney's most controversial and darkest motion picture. That is still Disney's most controversial and darkest motion picture, and one of their most powerful. And this is the most pathetic follow-up they could have ever made. Period. Not, I mean, the visuals are vastly inferior with a more sketchy style of animation, and it looks like and there's no huge crowds in this movie like there were in the first, because you can see how limited the budget is. So there's no CGI to enhance the animation, and it looks like a disease has literally wiped the population of Paris in this movie or something. I mean, sure, Quasimodo's romance with at least Quasimodo finally gets the girl in this movie, and that's adorable. But there's nothing else to recommend this movie for. It has an inferior, more light-hearted tone, inferior villain, inferior gargoyle moments, and inferior supporting characters. I mean, Esmeralda and Phoebus's son. I mean, I wanted to like him, but he was far too whiny for me. And God, don't even get me started on the villain. He was like, I could kiss me. I mean, Frollo from the first movie would give this cliched villain a run from his money any day. And the song, he's fa la 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 fallen in love, quite possibly the most uh, diabolical Disney love song of them all. And the number one worst Disney sequel, in my personal opinion, would be The Fox and the Hound 2. The original Fox and the Hound is uh, is one of Disney's most underrated masterpieces, and it's on par with Great Mouse Detective as their crown and jewel of the 80s Disney movies. But The Fox and the Hound too. I mean, I thought Bambi II was awful, but but Fox and the Hound 2 is even worse and is the most abysmal efforts for a Disney midquel that I have ever seen. No exaggeration. Why does this midquel even exist? I mean, Todd and Copper join a dog band. I mean, that is nothing like the emotional, heartbreaking theme of the original Fox and the Hound about two friends that in living in a world where they're supposed to be enemies and passes. This and beloved characters like Big Mama Owl and Boomer and Dinky, who stole the show in the first movie, they're not in Fox and the Hound 2, folks, nor do they even get a mention. Amos and Widow Tweets, there's a scene where they are searching for Todd and Copper, and they just act, neighbourly and hospitable to one another, which is totally out of character for them, as they were both uh, uh, fight at war with one another in the first movie, and and they have to force Todd and Copper to fall out because Copper's getting all the attention, the dog band, and even Tekka Entire, the voice of Dixie. Even she can't redeem this evil, cringe-inducing, and boring garbage. This is the only Disney sequel in which I have fallen asleep in, and it demonstrates that 2006 presented the lowest quality for Disney animation. First the Wild, and then this. Seriously, I mean, even kids or adults with half a brain would look at this and say, "This is not the Fox and the Hound." And remember the first movie's amazing climax with the bear. Well, the climax in this, it's a climax that doesn't even care or try. I despise Fox and the Hound 2 more than Belle's Magical World. It is worse than Little Mermaid 2, Lady and the Tramp 2, Return of Jafar, all of them. I am proud to call Fox and the Hound 2 the worst Disney sequel. So that was my top 5 worst Disney sequels, but I am sure Disney are getting better with their sequels nowadays. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 list. And what are your top 5 least favourite Disney sequels? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.